जहां पर आप हैं आज गुरुपुरब की गुरु नानक जी के बर्थडे की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. Wishing you all a wonderful happy birthday of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So ladies and gentlemen, our brothers and sisters in different parts of universe, wherever you are, we extend you a very warm welcome on 30th of November. And it's indeed a great privilege that this afternoon, somebody is in the morning, somebody is in the afternoon, somebody is in the evening. Some of my friends I spoke to, they have just got up early morning in European Union. And people in India, they are having their lunch time. And people, those are in Australia, Fiji, and New Zealand, they are preparing for their evening tea. What a beautiful galaxy, what a beautiful world, what a beautiful planet. And all of us, if we live peacefully over here, the world would be a better place. Because whatever money is being spent on arms, armaments, ammunition, factories, and everything you talk about, if that money we spend basically on education, there can be wonders. So ladies and gentlemen, 30th of November, while praying to Almighty, there should be a global peace, global wellness, good health. Everybody, let's think about those 1.86 billion children. Those are away from schools, colleges, universities at this point of time. How to make education relevant for them? And what exactly is the integrated approach to curriculum? When we talk about the new education policy 2020, this afternoon, indeed, it's a great, great pleasure. We have got Ms.Veena Raizada ji. A hearty welcome to her. Pleasure to have her with us. And she is academic consultant with the Next Education Private Limited. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share a few slides and thereafter we start today's session. International Chamber for Service Industry since 1994. We are in contact, networking, podlocking, confluence, linkages directly, indirectly, permutation, combination, whatsoever you can think of with the non-resident Indians world over in different countries. During this pandemic, during this coronavirus, like doctors, nurses, paramedical people, they are doing great job, they're great warriors. I personally feel, and our chamber very strongly feels, that our teachers, our educators, our technocrats, and people those are directly, indirectly associated with education ecosystem, they are also doing tremendous, commendable job. So let's proceed making education relevant. Monday to Sunday, we all are together. There are different programs on different days. And Monday to Friday, we have got a very special program in the afternoon, 12:30 to 1:30. And that's basically motivational talk. And today is a different kind of a motivation because throughout India, in Northern India, today is a holiday and teachers, youth, people, those are celebrating Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birthday. They are with us, their blessings are with us, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Ashirwad is with us. So today, there's a different kind of a motivation which we are going to get from Ms.Veena Raizada ji. Our chamber, right from 25th of March till the end of November, when we carried out the entire confluence of the research from the world over. So the first thing which has emerged is B2B will not be termed anymore as business to business. Now we have to call it back to basics. If we understand that, back to basics, wonders can be done on this planet. There's a sustainable development, and we take that into consideration. There are three areas which we have to consider: your basic food, your basic health, your basic education. All three are very important for all of us. So ladies and gentlemen, let's come together, let's be together in this journey. Whatever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Our chamber has thought of it. By 31st of December, we got to complete 500 webinars. एंड बाय 15th of August भारत के स्वतंत्रता दिवस 2021 तक हम 1000 वेबिनार मेकिंग एजुकेशन रेलेवेंट की डायरेक्शन में चल रहे हैं। जितने भी टीचर्स, एजुकेटर्स, ट्रेनर्स, काउंसलर्स, वाइस चांसलर्स, consultants, and those are the legends of the education ecosystem. हम उन सब के सामने नम्र होते हैं और उन सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करते हैं, क्योंकि उन्हीं के माध्यम से हम इस प्रोग्राम में आगे चल रहे हैं। Let's extend a very warm welcome this afternoon to Ms.Veena Raizada ji. She's a passionate educator, CBSE-Resource Trainer, 35 plus years of teaching and administrative experiences. An ardent supporter of technology, she's a guest speaker and a trainer for integrating technology into education across pan-India. So keyword, integrating technology into education. She's highly skilled and overtly student-focused educationist, strongly committed to the development of staff and students, providing a stimulating, safe, and motivating learning environment. She is passionate about education and especially of girl child. So women empowerment is also our agenda. That's wonderful. Author of the articles on integrating technology into education and all aspects related to going with new trends in educational magazines. On NDTV Heads Up program, she has been the participant for discussions on computers in education, how to keep children motivated at school. At my age, I think, because it is better to take some keywords from her. She has dedicated her whole life to education. So integrating technology, and then women empowerment, and then we are talking about computers in education, how to keep children motivated. Okay, how to keep children motivated. Okay. As an educational consultant, she has been part of establishing and improving teaching learning processes in schools. As a trainer, she has conducted training sessions across pan-India. So ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to have her with us this afternoon. Join me in welcoming a very hearty welcome, extending our warmth to Madam Veena Raizada ji. A great pleasure to have you with us, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be with you this afternoon. And very warm welcome to all those people who have joined us on YouTube. And greetings to everyone across India and across globe for happy Gurpurab to everyone. Let's build a world of peace, prosperity, and happiness and kindness to all living beings, including the mother planet Earth. Now, something that today's theme that I'm going to talk about is integrated curriculum for teaching learning processes as per the NEP 2020. So it is all around NEP 2020 that Dr. Sharma's sessions are woven around. So I've taken this topic, which is the basis of the change that we are going to bring through NEP 2020, because it talks of the core curriculum changes, pedagogy changes, as well as assessment changes. So the whole teaching learning process is going to be impacted by NEP 2020. So how can we prepare ourselves as educators to be part of this transformation so that we can prepare the children of today's generation, techno-savvy generation, Google generation, for the jobs or for the opportunities that do not even exist today. We are not even aware of the way technology is changing so fast. We are not even aware of what are the kinds of jobs that will appear in the times to come for the children when they pass out from the school. Even at college level, NEP is talking about so many transformations. So India is looking forward to emerging as a knowledge superpower. And we are all joining hands with Dr. Sharma, Gulshan Sharma, who is doing a lot of work to do this, and I'm all in for him. So I'll start sharing my screen. So this is the theme for today, integrated approach to curriculum. Something that appeared in the newspaper Times of India was the quote of Tony Robbins, who says that knowledge is not power. Knowing is not enough. Knowing a concept is only a potential value. The execution of knowledge is where the power lies. That quote went along with the highlights of integrated NEP 2020 in Times of India. And I really feel that has got a lot of value in that, because unless we have the understanding, application, analysis, synthesis, and creation via higher order thinking skills for our children, we are not preparing them as skilled persons for the jobs that are going to appear in future. So all my aim would be, sorry, let me check. So the agenda of today would be woven around, I would like to focus upon certain things. The main things that I always like is why, how, and what. Why do we need integrated curriculum? Because NEP 2020 talks about cross-curricular pedagogical approach. Now, if we are going for that, how do we plan integration of a unit? Because content planning across disciplines is a challenge, because that calls for team efforts. So a lot of collaboration, cooperation, and assistance of the heads of the units are required in order to prepare that integrated unit around the curriculum that we are talking about. Then what does integrated IC and pedagogy focus upon? They focus upon, as NEP 2020 talks about, experiential learning, competency-based learning, inquiry-based learning, technology-enabled education. So we have so many parameters of NEP 2020 that it need of the hour is actually to prepare yourself for those kinds of transformations that we are looking forward in the future. So this visual, I would like all of you to put down in your YouTube chat that what does this visual represent for you? So this is something like visual thinking strategies. So if you look at a picture, what does it show it to you? Dr. Gulshan Sharma, you will have to read out the messages that they write from in the...
Sure, ma'am, sure.
So if they are writing anything about this visual thinking strategies, that is what one of the things that we can use in our classrooms.
We would request all the participants, as Veena ma'am has told, kindly post your views, whatever you wish to say.
What do you think this picture is representing for you, where one side is yellow and it says, why understand like this? And the other side, there is another visual which says, when learning is like this.
Beautiful, beautiful. Post your comments, please, because so far you are sending good afternoon only to madam. Good afternoon she has received. Now let's proceed.
So as we can see that if we use any kind of visual in the class, we are putting the children into a thinking mode, because they will be all engaged in watching the visual that you are showing to them, as well as trying to interpret. And remember, everybody's interpretation could be different. So we will have to accept all the answers and then justify that what exactly you wanted from them. So in the left side, when you look at it, there is a square box and there are arrows all pointing outwards to different, again, small circles. That is actually showing up. Any answers, Dr. Gulshan Sharma?
Kaustubh Chakravarti, reasoning and processing.
Reasoning and processing. Okay, what else?
One answer has come. Others, let them send. Then I'll just get back to
Okay.
you.
So as you can see, I can just share why I understand like this. The left side, the yellow side actually shows what we were doing. The teacher, like a sage on the stage, or school curriculum at one point was being delivered into different disciplines, and they were the silos in which we were working. So every discipline, every subject was being taught as a separate subject, and there was no correlation between different subjects that we were covering. So the left side represents what we have been doing up till now. Whereas on the right hand side on the picture, you see there is a symbolic representation of music, symbolic representation of puzzles, chemistry, bio, um, in the space and the thinking processes. So how we do integrate through our thinking processes the different disciplines that we are studying along with the higher order thinking skills, because more I have been into school education since 1977. So it is very difficult for us to frame questions which are up to the higher level. So all our teacher empowerment also needs to be focused upon how to frame questions for higher order thinking skill. It is not about putting a difficult question and that becomes a higher order thinking skill question. So the right side represents what NEP 2020 is talking about. So these are the curricular and pedagogy shifts as per NEP 2020. So if we can really run this, there is a mind map that I have created, which gives us the essence of NEP 2020. So if you run it, you will see that.
There is another reply has come. That
Okay.
is from RK Vandana. Everything interconnected in fun-filled way,
Yes.
including art.
So
Then
let us look at, sir, now let us look at the, just 1 minute. I think we will start from there because we got lost into starting points. So I'm going to start this mind map that is depicting the essence of NEP 2020 as related to curriculum, that is content, pedagogy, and assessments. So let us look at that, and you watch, and then you can note down whatever points that you think you are able to. So we are talking about understanding the shifting dynamics of teaching, learning, assessment. So what we are talking in content is knowledge of Indian values and traditions, contemporary knowledge, artificial intelligence and design thinking. We are talking about focusing on environmental education and preparing our children for global citizenship. At the same time, the core content, we are talking about only essential concepts to be taught, skill-based approach. So we are also adding new age skills, mathematical thinking, computational thinking, data analytics, and coding. And we all know coding has been added from grade 6 onward. So this blue color represents the total essence of content.
Ma'am, have you gone to next slide or are we on the same slide?
No, we are showing the mind map.
No, it is not there. We are still at curriculum and pedagogy shift NEP 2020, yellow and white.
Oh, I'll just have to see that.
No problem. No problem.
We are on the screen. Oh, I think I thought we were. I was running this.
No worries, ma'am. No worries.
Just 1 minute. Are you not able to see the window now?
Ma'am, we are having a screen of yours, but it is showing curricular and pedagogy.
So no, we will look at that a little later on. Let's go further on this. I'll show that little later on. So
okay.
Here, we are talking about a paradigm shift in education, right?
Correct.
So what is NEP 2020 that has given to us? One was the legacy approach that we were having. And next, on the other side, right side, you see the emergent path that we have to follow. So in the beginning, up till now, what we have been doing in structured curriculum, we have been focusing on dependency on books, dependency on rote learning, dependency on reproducing the results, the learned content in the examination. Whereas now the shift is that we got to reduce dependency on the textbooks. We got to focus on core essentials, higher order thinking skills, and 21st century skill-based curriculum. And then, as I said at the beginning, specific subjects focused in isolation we have been teaching, but now NEP says no more silos among subjects and learning. We got to have integrated interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary approach. We also call it as cross-curricular pedagogical approach. Traditional disciplines, but now we are talking of contemporary subjects, artificial intelligence, data analysis, higher order thinking skills. Everything that we are talking about is global citizenship that our children should be prepared for. From computer literacy, gone are the days of computer. Now we are talking about digital literacy that also calls for digital fluency and digital proficiency and digital etiquette, so that we are respecting everybody's presence and comments on this system. Up till now, we have been either having English medium, Hindi medium, or even a regional language medium in the some areas. But now NEP 2020 promotes multilingual teaching, especially in the foundation years. So there is a lot of transformation of education system, which we all need to understand as an educators. We may be the head of the organization, or maybe the teacher in the classroom, or we may be the head department heads. Each one of us needs to learn that. Now, curriculum design approaches. I've just shown you 3 diagrams, and this is from ResearchGate website. You can look at that. The complete thing has been explained. I've just taken this image from there. What we were doing, the first image that you see is strictly disciplinary curriculum. English, Hindi, Math, Science, you have to pass in 5 subjects. 4, you have to take 1 English as compulsory plus 4 subjects. That is what we have been doing even in the senior classes. But when we talk about an integrated curriculum, it talks about organized around the subjects with skills and projects interwoven. As you see the black lines that are moving around it, so how they bind the subjects. And when you talk about problem-based curriculum, it goes vertically up the classes. So the whole thing says that either you can have a project that goes combining all these subjects at a grade level, that is number 1, or you could have a problem-based curriculum which you can have grade-wise, but it also goes vertically upwards. So 6 to 9, 6 to 8, 9th and 10th together, 9th, 11th and 12th together, 1 to 5 together could be doing a project. So how do you prepare such kind of integrated curriculum, which is learner-centered also, inquiry-based also, as well as technology-enabled? So there is a lot that is to be learned and upskilled by all the educators at every level. So 3 main parts from the...
People are asking, what is the source of that, which you have shown previous slide?
ResearchGate. You please Google it out. You will have to complete this thing from there. ResearchGate.
ResearchGate. And there is another comment to compliment you from Jyotika Jha, exploring different possibilities around and learning through the experience gained. Then Amrit Singh.
Sir, that is okay. That's okay. We will. If there is any question, we are the answers for that. That's okay. So let's look at that. Now, as per NEP, I have summed up the whole thing into an integrated or investigatory approach. But basically, it is project-based learning approach. Now, we will have to understand what is the difference between doing a project and project-based learning. That is very important for all the teachers and all the educators. Somehow, even in CC, we had something like that, but it was not taken up in the same spirit, and we could not do it as integrated projects, even though I have done that complete curriculum as part of and CCE in next education also. The second aspect could be we can begin from inter or intradisciplinary projects where we can at least start learning to connect subjects. And last, of course, what NEP 2020 is asking for is cross-curricular pedagogical approach. Now, on these parameters, I will like to develop further. I'll just like to show you a small video, and then I will like you to keep on putting your answers in the chat box to say that what all things can you connect with this. Let us say, because we have music as one of the activities in the schools, number one. Number two, NEP 2020 is also asking for integration of arts, music, even physical education. So how do we integrate art, music, dance, as well as physical education? So as you watch this video, number one, what are you observing? Number two, what are the subjects that you can connect with? And how can you make it an integrated curriculum? You may have only few subjects, no worries about, but as long as we can connect with it, that is very important for us. So what have you observed? And where do you think, which all subjects, and how can you connect with them? So that is the first thinking process, brainstorming processes with the students, with the teachers, that how this can be elaborated further. So keep on putting your answers in the chat, that what all subjects do you think you can connect with this? So we'll have to watch out that. Okay, so I'm giving you the first thing, being a physics math teacher all through my this thing, the very first thing is this can be connected to the concept of sound waves. And when we connect it to the concept of sound waves, what we are talking about is how physics and music could be connected together. How different instruments that we use in the music room, how children could go and study, that how stress, if you have watched the earlier video, you have seen the girl putting her fingers at different points. So how she's creating this stress and tension in different strings to play that. And as she changes the stress in the strings, these sound effects change. So it doesn't confine itself only to one concept of physics and music, where you talk about sound waves, how do they travel, in what kind of medium do they travel, what kind of waves they are, longitudinal wave, transverse waves, they have compressions, they have rarefactions. So all those things. Then how do you have stationary waves formed in an air column? How do you have the sonometer experiment? There are endless things that you can connect with physics and music together. I hope you appreciate that point, that how we got to be thinking about connecting those points. So Dr. Sharma is reading out all the comments, so he will be watching it out. Now let us see what else. Can you think of something else that where we can connect? Because this was the easiest possible for us. We all know about sound waves. If we have to go to the kindergarten or foundation years classes, what do you think we can connect this sound effect with? Something that I would like to share it, but when you have to go into the foundation year classes, the lower classes, you can talk about how is sound produced. So one word that children need to learn in the junior classes is that vibrations of strings, vibration of an object. Even if you move a paper, when you crumple a paper, it produces sound. How do you have this sound produced when you are mixing something in the glass with a spoon? You can have the children closing their eyes, and this I have been doing in my schools also, and play different kinds of instruments, and you can ask them to identify. You can talk about pitch, frequency, loud sound, melodious sound, rock sound, music, anything you can talk about. It only needs an effort to combine those kinds of stuff. And the most important thing that we all need to probably connect is, how do we hear sound? So how could we connect bio and sound? How could children could be asked to explain, learn, investigate, or even you could do it as a part of that. When I'm planning this project, I'm putting the sound waves in the center, and then I am talking about how is sound produced, how do we hear sound, what are the levels of sound frequencies that we can hear, and then we can talk about loud sounds, blaring sounds, melodious sounds, happy sounds, peaceful sound. So all those kinds of stuff could be shared with the students. And then when one thing is you are giving it, second thing is you are making certain questions or certain experiments or certain observations in which you are asking them to interpret. So investigatory approach would mean that we let them explore, we let them find out, we just give them an idea that this is what you need to explore further. Then how could we have or reduce noise pollution? How could we have a peaceful little silent world around us? So how do we talk about EVS, environmental studies and sound? I've just given you a very basic idea about the simple experiment that how could we connect the impact of sound at different levels. Because when you will talk about bio part, what level we are talking about, that level could change vertically along the classes. It could be simpler for the junior classes, it could be more complex for the higher classes. So this is the way we talk about content, concepts, connections that we need to create. Dr. Gulshan Sharma, are you there?
हाँ जी मैं ध्यान से सुन रहा हूँ एक एक वर्ड, क्योंकि मैं आज ये सोच रहा हूँ कि आप मेरे थॉट प्रोसेस को ले रहे हैं कि मैं आपके थॉट प्रोसेस को ले रहा हूँ.
Okay, ठीक है. Let's go to further. Now this is something again I want all of you to observe. I hope I can play this video. No. Just 1 minute, let me check it out.
Because it is so interesting. Recently, we have done with Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council a session.
Yes. So
where
it
we
is
have
loading.
shown
Just
leadership and integration, teamwork.
I just like to. I will like each one of you to observe it from the beginning, and then see what all can you observe. It is taking a little bit time to load, so just give me that much time. Observe what all instruments are being played. Observe what frequency you are listening. Observe what observations of emotions you are watching among the crowds. So it was just how different instruments can be connected.
Sound was not there. Sound was not there.
Come on, sir, don't tell me that.
No, I have to tell you.
Let's play it once again. Sound is not there.
No. In the YouTube down below, there are two columns. One is called music, sound. There are two columns. In every YouTube video on the left hand side, you have to press first those two, then you have to go on the YouTube video.
No, but I had embedded it, so that is why it was just a minute, sir. Screen sharing. Let me go back to some. Just. Are we able to see the screen?
We are able to see.
Yes. So I don't know, because I had embedded it, therefore it should have been playing like that only. Are you able to hear the sound? Anyway, you can look at the instruments being played. You can look at the.
No sound.
Hanji sir,
No sound.
I'm sorry for that, but let's
No
go for
problem.
the
No
next
problem.
slide.
No problem.
Now, as I said in the beginning, as you must have seen in the previous video, the idea was to show that how frequencies can be matched, how pitch can be matched when you have an orchestra. So when you go to your music room, when children are working for a band, so how do you have the matching of frequencies, matching of the rhythm, and creating a symphony, which is passion for music? So how do you have even the talking of music integration into your curriculum? What are the notes, higher notes, lower notes, classical music, Western music, everything can be incorporated into the system as a history and cultural heritage of India too. Now, when we talk about projects versus project-based learning, you can see two lines. One on the top says traditional unit with culmination of project. So what we have been doing up till now was that we give a lecture or students learn, then we have an activity, then we go and do the quiz. And then we have again the repetition of saying complete the subject topic and then give them a project to be done. And most of the time, they have been independent individual projects of English, Hindi, math, science, social science for all the children. So there was so much of the load of doing individual projects for the children that it hardly gave us back any value. Number one, there was no collaboration. Number two, there was no integration of subjects. Number three, there was no focus on skills. Just creating a model of volcano or model of an excretory system or some other system, digestive system, or even we have been doing those projects for science exhibitions. So they were all done as specific projects of a subject only. So now CBSE and NEP 2020 are focusing upon integration of units. So how do we talk about those integration of units? Project-based learning is that you have a problem that you think about and you have to weave it around your disciplines with interwoven with skills and ideas so that the projects can go for one turn in the school system. They can go even vertically up the classes too, apart from going horizontally along the subjects in the same class. So you could have integration of English, Hindi, math, science for the same class, or you could have integration of a project from 1 to 5 together. In that case, you will have to split the project in such a small unit so that everything when connected, put together like a puzzle, becomes a project in totality. So you have look at the project-based learning unit. Again, you can see the network that has been mentioned below. You can go to this blog and read everything about project-based learning unit in detail. So it is www.nettechnetwork.org. If you go there, you will find out how a project-based unit can be planned, how activities, workshop, lectures, homework, research, labs. And the most important part that you are seeing in project-based learning is that there are checkpoints at every level, where you call them benchmarks, that are we moving in the right direction? And even more important than that is reflection on what you are doing. So reflecting upon your progress, reflecting upon your cooperation, reflecting on whether you were a part of the team where you were working, reflecting upon how you were contributing, or you were leading, or you were following others. That is what makes the life skills for the students who are involved in project-based learning. And if you could connect them vertically up, it is nothing like that. Peer teaching, peer assessments also come in from the seniors to juniors, even though we can do it on their own also for self-assessment as well as peer assessment, which NEP 2020 is talking about. So the whole project based learning, when you complete it, there is a product available to us. There is something that can be applied somewhere. There is something that we can talk about, that we had that problem and this is the solution that we have around it. There is a girl about whom I talked in the earlier session also, girl from some school in Mumbai. She's a football player. So being it was always a problem for her shoes to be wet and smelling, especially because of the moisture and the rainy season at all. So she had to find out something, that how can I remove the moisture and keep my shoes without the smell. So she worked upon with different, like the some sachets we have in our objects also, so that they don't smell. So she, based upon that learning, she kept on experimenting with different things and everything. And then finally she came up with a product which she, that sachet bag stuff, which she could put in her shoes and they will not smell, because that will absorb the moisture of the shoes. Now the problem was, how do I know the sachet is usage is over? So again, she tried different kinds of inks on it, so that the absorption levels of the ink would indicate the life of the sachet that she had created. That was a wonderful project. Similarly, there was a girl who was traveling in a train and she forgot to carry her toothbrush and paste. So when she was using the paper soaps that we all use when we travel, she thought of, why can't we have something similar for our brushing teeth also? And she ended up creating an innovative paste strips for travel. So that is how we have to inspire children to apply the concepts that we are teaching them in the classes, so that they develop the sense of doing that. Why I'm doing? Because I can do that. Why I'm learning this? Because it will help me in creating that. So project-based learning is, there is a content, there is a process, and there is a product. So three main things of the project-based learning are that it is based on content, the core essentials that you have taught. Then there's a process that you lay out, that how will you go about it. And then finally, there is a product that comes out, and that is something that you can always try it out. Prototype is being created for that. So I hope I've been able to clarify the difference between projects versus project-based learning. And it is very important for all of us to understand that. Now, project-based learning, first thing is why, the purpose of doing. It helps us enrich the core concepts and applications. So it is very important for us to understand why I am taking up that problem. Next is what. The students will be able to do what? They will learning outcome as core concepts and skills. They'll be product oriented. I have to come out with a solution for that, right? Then how. The process of doing authentic and learner-centered learning environment, in which definitely 21st century skills of cooperation, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity, curiosity, care for Mother Earth, as well as cultural diversity. So many C's would be addressed. We started with 4 C's of 21st century skills by CCE, but they have been added further. So there are endless list of C's that we can keep creating for that. And it's not enough to create a list. We got to work upon that. So cultural diversity, as per me, is a very, very important C of 21st century, so that our students are preparing for global citizenship. Then whether what I have done with the students for such a long time, have they learned something out of it or not? So evidence of learning, evidence of what we have done. So evaluation of the learning outcome, the product that you created, does it work? Does it have a value? Does it have mass application? That is what teachers need to do. So it's very important for us to have why we are doing, what we are doing, how we are doing, and whether the outcome is giving support to what we intended as the learning outcomes of anything that we are doing. Even the simplest possible activity, we should always be defining learning outcome as well as the skills involved, and whether it is an inquiry-based process or it is something that you're just giving the answers to them. So how do you go about it? So there's a lot of mindset change and the art of framing questions which teachers need to learn. So integrated project planning, there are 4 phases. And each one of these phases is based upon what I talked about. So you have to think about what is the problem in which we can find a solution, and students would be interested in that. So you have to determine the big idea, the learning outcome, competency skill, that if I work upon this problem, like children worked upon creating hand sanitizers which were favorable to the skin. So children even worked upon creating the masks. So they learned how to create masks, what kind of cloth to be used, how many layers, and the positioning of the layers too. Phase 2. Then how do you have the operationalization of that big idea? So how do you have the specific questions when you go to the class as a physics teacher, as a chemistry teacher, as a bio teacher, as a math teacher? How do you bring the children to what you want to do? So how do you create that interest? For that, you will have to create the questions. The phase 3 is assessment, description, and development. That means rubrics, which NEP 2020 is very specifically talking about. The criteria of assessment has to be made clear to the student. So how do we create rubrics for lab work, for IT work, for language work? They all need a separate training by itself. And lastly, the whole choreography of learning, that how will you plan for it week wise, day wise, period wise, so that we have clarity of how the work will go on. So these are the 4 phases of integrated project planning process. Now I'm going to talk about one specific topic which Dr. Sharma had spoken to earlier also, that integrated pedagogy. It means we have one theme and multiple perspective to the same problem. Now I'm sure everybody is aware of that there is a lot of a problem with water availability, quality water for drinking and for personal usage. And there's already, we are aware of the problems of water sharing between the southern countries. I think Tamil Nadu and Karnataka already are having that issue of sharing of water resources. Even in Punjab, even in many other areas, there is a problem of availability of quality water for drinking. So if you tell the students that we are going to work upon, now we don't want to tell them, how will we go about talking about certain problems, certain aspects in every class? So the children themselves come up and tell us, okay, ma'am, we will do the some solutions to be found out for water crisis. So how do you have brainstorming session by every subject teacher? And then we have to weave subjects around and the subjects that matter. Now, just the way I showed you in that sound wave experiment, this particular topic I'm going to align with the foundation years. So let us see what kind of activities I'm ready to show to all of you. Now, let us say we have a debate or discussion on imagine a day without water.
मैम पिछली स्लाइड एक बार फिर दिखा दीजिए. Somebody is watching from Singapore and
this one.
हाँ जी थोड़ा सा इसको एक बार फिर इनको थोड़ा सा बता दीजिए.
So what we are talking about integrated pedagogy means that there is one problem that we are talking about. The theme is one, but everybody is looking at it from different perspective. Maths person is looking from a different perspective. Science person is looking from a different perspective. Economics, accounts, every subject is looking at the same problem. So if we take an example of water crisis, so the first thing will be that we will have brainstorming session. So if you are doing it for one particular grade, all subject teachers of the grade only will be sitting down for brainstorming session. And then they will think about how do I align my learning objectives to that theme. Now, learning objectives, again, I'm focusing that they have to be in terms of skills, because NEP 2020 talks about skills. So every subject teacher should know English, Hindi, math, science, social science teachers, that what are the skills in my subject. And I'm sure they all need to work upon that. Even in English, if we say only 4 skills, LSRW, I think there are many more beyond that: comprehension, interpretation, giving reference, answering to the context. So we have to think about that, what are the skills in my subjects? And then how do I weave? So these are the steps that I'm talking about. Then how do I weave the activities around it? Whether I'm going to ask them to do the research work, then action research is something which all teachers and all students need to work upon, that we reflect upon what we are doing also and what we are. So how do you have their workshops, their trainings, their collaboration, their platform? What kind of platform you're giving to them? And these subjects that you are going to connect with them. Now, if you want to do it vertically from 6 to 8, then The whole group will have to sit together and then work it out, which probably at the moment might be difficult for us. But we can always begin with at least all subject-based teachers of the same grade to weave their integrated unit. I hope I'm clear now. Whosoever was wanting
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine, ma'am.
G. So next one is, now let's have this debate for inter-house debate in the class, or extempore speech in the classroom, that imagine a day without water. Every child will let's say has to speak for 1 minute that if there is no water, what will happen? So how do you arouse the interest of the child into the project that you want to do? So how do you bring out the questions, debates? You can ask them to put a presentation, you can ask them to do a group work, and then put a collage, and then put their line. So whichever way you want to do it. But let's say we have focus on language skills, then we talk about, let's have a debate. Imagine a day without water. So how we are focusing upon language skills when we are talking about this? We can have group discussion on this. So this is the one of the examples that I'm giving, that how we can start initiating the thought process. Sorry. Then we have the next step will be, we will be creating the curriculum web. That curriculum web means how all subjects would be woven around that integrated unit that I have thought about. So this I'm talking about water with respect to foundation and prep years only. As you can see, F and P years average. So in the foundation and prep years from kindergarten to grade 5, how we can, so as you can see, each symbolic thing has been put up in this diagram, which I'm showing you. The very first thing is how we can talk about languages. So if I have to relate to languages, how can I create rhymes related to water? How can I focus upon vocabulary related to water? How can I have simple picture composition related to water? So all things that I'm doing are language skills, yet they are interwoven with the theme as water. I hope everything is all right, Dr. Sharma. Let's go to the next one.
Haji, please.
Next is EVS. So how do we answer? How do we use water in our daily life? Let's put these questions. These are only some few examples. Teachers will have to do a complete work for week-wise, day-wise, unit-wise, period-wise, right? So do plants and animals need water? What happens in rainy season, sewage problems? Quality of drinking water. Do we have enough safe water across our own society, our own city, or our own state, or our own country, or across the globe? So depending upon the level of your class, you can do that, right? The next one is mathematics. So I'm doing maths, but I'm doing maths with water. That how do I measure mass, how do I measure volume, and how to have shapes of water in different containers, which I'll be showing in the further slides as we go ahead. Then how do we talk about science? That properties of matter, color, taste, mixing. When you mix some colors in water, what happens? The floating, sinking of objects, absorption and repelling, sweating, perspiring. That is physical education that we are there. So it is integration of physical education via science. Right. The next one is art and crafts. How you can have these different kinds of activities, but still all related to the theme water. That is why the unit needs to be planned by all the subjects and activity teachers in collaboration with each other, and everyone needs to agree that we are ready for it, and everyone then defines the skills that the children would be learning in their subject at the end of that project. So how can you have performing art, songs and dances on rainwater beats, scripting stories of rivers? There was a project of cleaning the rivers too by, I think, Sadhguruji. Many people worked on that also. People are working on cleaning of river Ganges too. So we have to think about how children could be related to such kind of issues, which are global issues, which are national issues, so that we are not talking about me, myself as the center of the problem, but I'm talking about the problem that is faced by all around us. Any questions on that?
It's fine, ma'am. Let's proceed. Let's proceed.
Okay.
It's very innovative and very interesting.
Activity. Now let's say in the junior class, because I'm focusing this project in fundamental and foundation and prep years. So simple activities. How can you create a simple lab in your school where children are allowed to experiment and explore on their own with their different kinds of objects, right? And then how can you create sheets? Again, Google Sheets, they are all, you can search out Google for these sheets of sink or floats. That means you have given this student the objects and the child is doing that and writing the that will it sink or will it float. On the other side, it could be made investigatory, that you give the objects, but ask them, will it sink, will it float? So in that case, you will give them object like in the second, you are seeing that one ball is bigger, one is smaller. The smaller one is has sunk to the bottom, whereas the bigger one. So the idea is that if you can get interpret this, what would you interpret it as? That it doesn't depend upon the size only. There is something else also required for doing that, right? If you see the second one, which is showing the sinking and floating of the two objects, the bigger object is coming up again and again, whereas the smaller one. So child is able to observe that it is not the size only that matters, but there is something else. Then we talk about mass, then we talk about density. Now, how can you make it further interesting is, can you add salt to the water? What will happen? If you add oil to the water, what will happen? So how can you keep making that more and more investigatory and inquiry based? I would have to stop share and do certain activity with all of you. Sir, I would like to see you. I would like you to see the activity. Now, what do I have? Now, if I'm doing these activities in the classroom, I'll have to continue keep talking. Children are interacting with you. So what do you have in your hand? So how do you develop language? Ma'am, you have a jar with water in your hand, right? So how do you speak in full sentences to develop language? Now, apart from this jar, now I have two of fruits with me. One is orange, one is lemon. Okay. Now I want all of you to tell me that whether this will float or sink in this water. So write your answers in the chat. Will orange float or sink? So the idea is how the children will be made to think. The class will be having this. Some will say yes, some will say no, some will say I don't know. So you can have always a voting for that. So Dr. Sharma, will it float or sink? You tell me first.
It will float.
It will float. So I hope everybody else now gets the answer. Let's see. But I'm not very sure. We'll have to see that. Okay, this is bigger. Now I have another thing. This is lemon in my hand. Will it float or sink? Dr. Sharma, you are the only one I can see. Therefore, you have to tell me.
It will sink.
It will sink. So sir ने सोच के बोल दिया कि होगा कुछ ना कुछ तो क्योंकि मैम ऐसा दिखा रहे थे इसलिए नहीं. So okay, let us see. So how do you show it to the children that it is floating, right? And how do you show it to the children that lemon would? Just a minute, I think it has got stuck.
हाँ कोई बात नहीं.
नहीं. We will show it that it will.
हाँ जी.
Yeah. So you can see that lemon sinks. Now the next question is, if I add salt, what happens if I add? So you can keep asking children. Now the next question is, if I peel the orange.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
If I peel the orange, will it sink or float?
It will sink.
Yes. So what now the question is, what was in the peel that was making the orange? So how do you make children learn that? What was in the peel that was making the orange float?
Right.
So inquiry-based approach, experimental approach, the way you ask questions, the way you ask to do them, the way you ask to explore them further. I have shown you with water. Try with milk. Try with glycerin. Try with sugar water. Try with lemon water. So then see what happens. So how do you put your children into the thinking mode, into the question answer mode? That is what makes a lot of difference. Now there is
all of us, we should put our hands together clapping for Veena ma'am. Wonderful.
No, sir, it's okay. So because I have been into education since
Very interesting.
1977.
Very
And then
interesting.
I have been like into schools which really made difference, and I'm thankful to all my mentors who have made me what I. So now I will just show you one more experiment. Now all of you have seen this experiment, but still I'll just show you. Let's hope. So I have what I think everybody can see, that I have a plate in my hand, and
Yeah.
there is a light that is tea light that is burning in it. Now, all of you must have seen this experiment. When we put this on top of it,
Yes.
so you can see it rises. This is what we have all grown up looking at it. Now, the idea is how to make the same experiment and inquiry-based approach. Now, because next time I have this. There are 3 candles in it. Ek choti, ek badi, usse badi. So they're all in increasing order of this. So I'm not putting anything into it because, so you can see there are 3 candles.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now if I do the same experiment, you have to tell me which one will get extinguished first. Number 1. Number 2, you do it with 1 first. Then if I put 2, will the water rise be double or half? With 3, it will be triple or 1/3. So how do you do these simple experiments with the children in order to put them, and they can all do it at home. But the question is, teacher has to be inquisitive enough to ask and to show it to all of them that how do I frame questions? One candle experiment we all have seen for ages. So if I put 2 candles of the same size, will the water rise double or half? If I put 3 equal, will it be triple or 1/3? And if I put of different sizes the 3 candles, which will get extinguished first? So Dr. Sharma will go back and do this experiment. So the question was only to show you that how do we engage the children even in online. Number 2, how do we have an inquiry-based approach? Now in this case, it is not only doing this experiment, but we can talk about science, we can talk about chemistry, or we can talk about flame, we can talk about air, we can pressure, endless subjects. We can connect English, describe what we saw, write the instructional note that how we did the experiment. So step by step, 1, step 2, step 3. So I'm teaching the children the note making. So language skills I am focusing when I'm talking about experimenting and asking them to explain the experiment. So what was the aim of the experiment? What equipment did you need? How did you do it? And what was the result? So I'm telling them how to write an experiment. So you can keep on exploring with one single activity, all subjects. When the flame is there, what chemistry of the flame can be talked about? What is wax? The composition of wax can be talked about. Air and pressure, the composition of air can be talked about. The whole idea is I got to be thinking as a teacher to be that innovative teacher to talk about multiple perspectives on the same stuff. That is the idea. So once again, we'll come back to the screen sharing.
Wonderful.
So this is what we did. We had orange and glasses. Then we had orange floating. Then we have orange sinking. Then we had both of them. And then we had finally this. And you have to say that even the peel floats. Right? So how do I have a simplest possible experiment being integrated into different kinds of subjects? Now, activity, dissolve or not. Again, similar thing, investigatory approach, you can put it up out there. So you can, again, you can go to the Google and find out the relevant worksheets for your children, or you can prepare for yourself with what you are giving. So one is where you have given the things and then you just have to write do that and then write down will it dissolve, will not dissolve. On the other side, you will have to experiment and find out. So this is further based on water only. Now, I want you to look at all this thing and tell me which one has got the maximum volume of water, which container has got the maximum volume of water. Dr. Sharma, you got to look for the answers in the chat box.
Sure, Ji, sure.
I'm sorry to keep you engaged.
No. Sure.
So
it's so interesting. It's so stimulating.
Okay. Teachers, tell me whosoever is watching YouTube, which container has got maximum volume?
Okay, kindly put your answers. There are 6
You
containers.
can write down the green, red, yeah, purple, blue, the color of the container.
Yes, yes.
Any answers? No, they're not wanting to write.
Not as yet.
Okay, so that's it. Sir, let me tell them the answer that this was an experiment again done by a teacher. She had taken the same glass of water, mixed different colors, but put it into different containers. So the idea was to show that the volume remaining the same. Volume remaining the same, the shape of the water container changes depending upon in which container it is put. So how do you make children aware of the volumes and also the property of liquids that they take the shape of the container in which they are placed?
Wow.
So how do you teach children? So this is the approach of constructivism, where a child constructs a knowledge. He himself finds it out. Ask him to have that glass of water, mix the different colors every time and put them into different containers. He will come to know that all of them, the volume is the same, but the shape has changed. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So now we have been talking so much of water. All of you can have a glass of water and then relax a little bit.
Very good, very good.
Okay, so let's see the next one. No matter how rich you are, you can't live without water for sure. So we all enjoy having that water, and therefore we need to look into the problem of water crisis globally, not only in our country or our state, but globally. So there is another precious water activity that you could do. First one is water abundance. How do you show it? I leave it to you to think about it. Then how do you talk about water scarcity? And how do you talk about water economics and then water challenges? I've written the points everywhere. The video will be on the YouTube. You can go back and check it out and think about the activities. And you can put on the mail to Dr. Gulshan Sharma that what kind of activities would you create for this to make the children aware that water is very precious.
Wow, great, great, great.
Okay, now let's breathe, and if there are any questions, I can answer that. And that next would be my last slide. I think I have had enough time with all of you and wonderful time this morning. So let's breathe. And then if you have any questions, you can answer that. And please do share your learning experience. And will this help you to collaborate and enable integrated disciplinary project-based learning, cross-curricular? I just want you to give that feedback on the YouTube chat or write an email to Dr. Gulshan Sharma so that he feels happy about it. Then this is how I conclude my session. Any questions, Dr. Sharma? I can answer them. Thank you so much for being there, and a wonderful opportunity for me to share with all of you whatever I had to share as per part of NEP 2020.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. First of all, let me clap, and then I will tell everybody whoever is watching to clap at their own place.
Thank you, sir.
Something very interesting, and what you gave, integrated approach to curriculum and NEP 2020, people those are watching. There are 3 things initially she mentioned: integrated technology, women empowerment, and how to motivate children. From there, we had proceeded, and ma'am mentioned that right from 1977, she is with the entire framework of the education ecosystem. Now, सबसे पहले तो मैं उसको ढूंढ रहा हूँ जिसने एजुकेशन बनाई. वो मुझे गूगल पे पहले तो उसकी पिटाई करनी जिसने एजुकेशन बनाई, फिर उसके बाद उसको पकड़ना है जिसने एग्जामिनेशन सिस्टम बनाया. ये एग्जामिनेशन सिस्टम के बजाय अगर इस तरीके का एक्सपेरिमेंटल, एंजॉयबल, क्रिएटिव, इनोवेटिव, प्रैग्मेटिक, इस तरीके की अगर अप्रोच एजुकेशन में हो, हाउ फन, हाउ इंटरेस्टिंग इट वुड बी, nobody will be getting bored, nobody would feel tired, nothing of that sort. And something very interesting which comes to my mind, you mentioned about music today. You touched a very interesting way. Now I've got two areas to share with you, ma'am. In future we will take on two areas. Of course, one area we will also support you a lot. When you talked about music on 16th of November, we got a gentleman from Mumbai from through Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council.
Okay.
And he gave music for yoga, music for meditation, music for concentration, music for education, music for emotions, music for intellectual value, music for cognitive skills, music for psychomotor skills, music for leadership, music for teamwork, music for emotional connect, music for when you want to create an aura and a mood, you want to teach history, you play historical music and children will learn better. You want to teach geography, you play a music related to that, people will enjoy better. Then the teamwork, you learn so much when the symphony goes on, orchestra goes on.
That was the idea of showing that video. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Lakshmikant Pyarelal ji and one man just standing in front and doing like that, and 150 people together. That's a leadership also, and that's a teamwork also. Music to remove stress, music to overcome health-related issues, music for mathematics. You have also been kind to give it. Now, technology is now integral part of the music. So there's something very nice they have developed in Bombay. I'll share with you, and I'll share with the audience also. There is a program being developed by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, through Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council. That is how to become a teacher, where music to be integrated in all subjects, whether physics or chemistry or biology or social science or geography or history. That program is on from Mumbai, and the gentleman is Mr. Thomas. His first name, I will just read it because so many guests come, so my apologies on that. But they are based out of Mumbai, and they've got a 6-month program now being developed. Now coming on to the next one. You gave a source research gate, where you gave a strict discipline curriculum, integrated curriculum, and then problem-based curriculum. That was something fantastic. Then the music and physics, you gave very nice example. That Yama YouTube video you had shown, that was also quite nice. Then you have given the new tech network.org project versus project-based learning. And then finally, there was something a take from all of us, that is innovative teachers. Wow, that was something a take, innovative teacher. Teachers got to be now innovative. That part is very important, which we have to take into considerations. Now, I'll leave this on two notes, something very interesting. Maybe after 1 month, whenever you have time, or maybe before that, let us take water as a theme. Let us take water as a theme, and let us develop related to that water for physics, water for chemistry, water for mathematics, water for history, water for geography, water for happiness, water for survival. you have already given beautiful experiments where you have given.
There is a second part of it that we do for senior classes.
So let us
Water
do that
crisis,
also.
the same problem, but it is for 6 to 12. So there we use a different kind of.
I extend you a very warm welcome. We should do that. We should do that because the thing is, I always believe in knowledge should not be taken to the graveyard. Knowledge should be shared with the world. And that is applicable to all my brothers and sisters world over. And that's why every day when I get up in the morning, I thank God you have given me one more day to do justice with the humanity and to do a little contribution from my side. And I wish to sleep when I'm dog tired and my body tells that you cannot take any more, then I want to sleep. So what I would like to make a request to you, ma'am, let's make education more innovative. And when you have used the word innovative teachers today, I think we will take this journey forward. And two areas we had taken, one was water, one more music. Music already, we invite you, 14, 15, 16, 17, 14, 15, 16, 17, then 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, then 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. These 12 days, there is a music festival for education by ICSI with Media Entertainment Skill Council. So with you, let us focus on water. I think that's a wonderful thing. And I invite you and I request you for the senior classes also what you're mentioning. Let's take it one of these days and we should move ahead with that as well.
Yes.
With these words, our blessings to you, our regards to you, our thanks to you, our gratitudes to you. We wish to take you onward with us in this journey. And we would like to be your humble student to learn from you from time to time. Whatsoever best we can pick up, because you acquired so much of knowledge, wisdom, your living itself must have become in the ecosystem. Because 1977 onward, if I say, so that makes how many? 23 plus 23 plus 20. So 43 years, 43 years. So 43 years long journey. I think on the Guru Nanak Ji's birthday, I put my hands before you and I say, share your knowledge, share your wisdom, share your, whatsoever your beautiful journey, whatsoever you have carried. Let's share with the universe. Let's make universe a better place for living, where everybody is well equipped, better equipped, and we all live peacefully. With these words, thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you so
very
much.
Kind of you.
Thank you.
And all our friends, next 1 hour, my YouTube channel is on. You can post your comments, you can post your views, you can post your everything. 5 minutes to 3 o'clock, I will go to the next webinar. Then only I'll switch over to next YouTube. So this is all of you can post your comments, your views, and God bless Veena Raizada.